Welcome back, everybody. Joining us now to discuss illegal immigration, student loan forgiveness, and much, much more is Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We have not had you on since this report of over-collection by the FBI and the DOJ, passports, medical records, documents that contain attorney-client privileged information, clothing. I wanted to get your initial reaction to this.
I'm shocked. I mean, even though I look at the FBI and what they've done to President Trump over the last several years, I mean, going back to before he was elected, running wiretaps in his at Trump Towers, I'm shocked that they took medical records, passports, and things along those lines. And, I'm glad the judge appointed the special master. I will tell you, if the FBI had been responsible in this, they would not have continued to go through the documents while the judge was debating on, the approval of the special master or not. So it's I think as more and more starts to come out, I'm learning. I learned that I didn't know that President Biden had actually before he was actually sworn in, I guess, based on what the gentleman that went just in front of me had actually had his hands on this from the start.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And it's after the president's in office. In April of this year, he tells the FBI, or tells the National Archives, I want you to send all the stuff that Donald Trump sent to the archives to the FBI. And it's at that moment that the criminal investigation is born. The president actually instructs it. We see that in a letter, but now the judge also went out of her way to mention it in your hearing. When you think about that, the president sicking the FBI on his likely rival in 2024, what runs through your mind?
Well, all of the things that they accused President Trump of doing, they're actually doing, right? I mean, that the hypocrisy of it just knows no bounds. And so, Biden's just lying is the bottom line. I mean, if all of this stuff, if the judge has seen this stuff and is saying this, then Biden has obviously been lying.
Yeah, that's definitely the bottom line.
Yeah, and Congressman, speaking of things that they accuse President Trump of, I wanted to talk to you about the border. Obviously, things have changed drastically under President Biden. I saw a recent report, 10,000 pounds of fentanyl in the first 10 months of fiscal year 2022. Of course, July was a record. We reported on that a few weeks ago. And then these reports of baby wipes containing cocaine coming across the border at the Laredo port entry. The border's out of control, and the Biden administration does not seem to care at all. It seems like they are politically motivated towards things like this. How badly does that damage them in the midterms?
Well, it depends. I mean, if they're able to keep the focus on the prior elections, then and that has been their goal, then I don't know that it does hurt them that much. If we're able to keep it focused on the facts, then it hurts them a lot. And the problem we've got is, most of the public is watching CNN or MSNBC, and Fox is doing the best they can to cover it. But, they've got other stories out there too. And when you have half of America who is hung on CNN and MSNBC, they're not even hearing this. Now, they see it on the street. I mean, they know the drugs in this country are a problem. They see the illegal immigration. They know that's a problem. They know the cartels control the border, and that's a problem. We've got a job to do as Republicans in making sure that the American citizens know that we want to fix these problems.
Yeah, that's the key. You guys have a really detailed solution plan, and I think as Americans see that, they're going to begin to absorb what's possible, what can be changed. I want to turn to something that happened during the summer recess. President Biden, with a magic pen, said he's getting rid of all of student loans, at least $10,000 to $20,000 of debt of current students. No congressional authority. Just a few months after the Supreme Court chided the executive branch for overstepping its authority on other regulatory matters. I think you're one of the lawmakers considering about suing, right, to say, hey, this is Congress's role, not yours, Mr. President, right?
It's absolutely Congress's role. He should not have done this. Even Speaker Pelosi has said he doesn't have the authority to do this, and he went and did it anyway. I mean, it's pandering. It's pandering, and at a minimum, it should have been the foundations that are sitting on billions and billions of dollars that are tax exempt in this country that should have been asked to pay at least a portion of the tab. But of course, those liberal foundations, they don't really care about these people. They just want the government to pay the bills. And so it's not the federal government's responsibility, John. And if you go back and look at what Barack Obama said when he took on all of the student debt, he promised us that it was going to end up saving money. And this was his origination. This is Barack Obama's origination. And people should look back at that. But it's now what, $500 billion is what the estimate is.
Yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah, Congressman.
When the government forgives a debt.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. You are one of those folks that we love to discuss ESG with. Oftentimes when I look at a company's ESG score and their actual records and value placed on human rights, actual human rights, it doesn't always seem to match. It's like putting an Angelina Jolie skin suit on Michael Moore. It doesn't accurately reflect what's underneath. Are we at a place in America where with the advent of things like ESG scores, symbolic wokeness on the surface is more important than, profitability, commitment to shareholders, things that we used to value in companies?
Yeah, well, who's handling the scores, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're probably receiving some cash to get the score that they want, or handing some cash over to get the score that they want. And what I will tell you is that most of these major corporations that are pushing the ESG movement inside the United States, they're doing business in China, where they get virtually 100% of their energy from coal. They're doing business in India, where they get 100% of their energy in coal. And so these are supersized corporations and supersized investment organizations like BlackRock that are pressing this inside the United States. And the bottom line is they know that small and mid-sized businesses probably can't comply with the rules and regulations that they're trying to put in. So it's snuffing out small and mid-sized businesses, which benefits the largest corporations in the world. And so it's not an honest debate. It scares me from the standpoint of capitalism. If you look at what Texas has done, and I think West Virginia has done it, and Oklahoma has done it, I think, and Florida is looking at it, I'm glad that these states are saying, you know what, if you're going to do this, then you're not going to manage the pension money of our employees. And so I'm glad that the states are pushing back on this movement.
Yeah, it seems like federalism has been the best approach to it, just fighting back at that level. You have been one of the most important voices on warning about what lies ahead. Food crisis, energy crisis. It seems like every day that reality is setting in. What are we looking at in this fall, winter, and spring relating to European energy, worldwide food, and even right here at home, food and gas prices on our own backyard?
Yeah, well, look, we've all seen the news on Russia cutting off the gas supply to Europe. That's obviously going to create economic turmoil in that country and potentially send them into a recession. When your trade partners and your allies go into a recession, it makes it that much harder for you as a nation to push your economy forward. I think we've got some tough times ahead. Now, the thing that the Biden administration has done that's moved the polls is they've dropped the price of a gallon of unleaded gasoline. But Americans need to understand that the price of a gallon of diesel has more to do with your day in and day out, your shopping at the grocery store and everything else that you have to have. And we don't see that inflation easing because of his bad policies. Spoke with a farmer this morning, and we were talking about fertilizer, and I told him, I don't see relief in sight for our fertilizer prices. And so when you look at the input cost of agriculture and then what it takes not just to grow the crop, but to get the crop to the field, I just don't see food inflation going away, and it's got a lot to do with very bad policy from the Biden administration.
Yeah, and it's going to hit Americans hard for sure. But hey, maybe if you pick up a pack of baby wipes, one of those baby wipes that came across the border and has cocaine in it, that'll help offset your inflation. So a win-win. Congressman Austin Scott, thank you so much. We've got former